Friday, October 30th, 2020. And we are live. Hope everybody's doing well. Well, it is 4 days to the November 3rd, 2020 election. 4 days left. The candidates are on the campaign trail. Biden, Kamala Harris will give an update on what's going on. The campaign on Biden, Obama to be coming to Michigan. They'll be in Detroit also. And we'll give you an update on what's going on with the latest poll that came out from NBC News, actually a national polling average. Okay, more than 82 million people have already voted across the country, including myself. I voted on Thursday. So we see early voting taking place. We see Texas at a record for early voting. Also, 9 million people have early voted in Texas, and early voting ends today in 7 states. As Texas shatters a record with 9 million people early voting. We could very well be at 100 million people who have early voted by November 3rd. So we'll give you an update on what's going on with the campaign. Also, while records are being set on the campaign trail and early voting, records are being set with new cases of coronavirus. 98,000 new cases reported on Friday, October 30th, while Donald Trump is trying to downplay coronavirus and the severity of it and downplay new cases. No, it keeps happening because there is no national strategy. Corona exposing the stupidity of the White House. Nearly 100,000 new cases in one day as infections surge in battleground states. 98,000 new cases on Friday, October 30th. 90 cases on October 29th. Better is not around the bend and around the corner are more coronavirus cases. That's the only thing around the bend and around the corner. More coronavirus cases and more deaths. Okay, so we'll give an update on what's going on with that. And then, I was on Roland Martin Unfiltered today, and I was on with Dr. Julian Malveaux. And so we'll have, on our Sunday night show, we'll share some excerpts of what took place on Roland Martin Unfiltered. We talked about Breonna Taylor, what's going on, update on the Breonna Taylor case. We'll talk about Breonna Taylor today because the Louisville police officer, Sergeant Jonathan Mattingly, who was shot in the leg, allegedly by Kenneth Walker, Breonna Taylor's boyfriend. He has filed a civil suit against Kenneth Walker, alleging severe trauma and mental anguish and emotional distress. So we'll talk about we'll talk about that, and then we'll give an update on what's going on with coronavirus. But also, when we look at the campaign, now a few shows ago and last week we talked about voter depression. Okay, and we talked about how there are voter depression campaigns taking place on social media to discourage African Americans and Hispanics from voting. All right. Well, NPR.org has an article dealing with this as well. Black and Latino voters flooded with disinformation in elections final days. Black and Latino voters flooded with disinformation in elections final days. Okay, so we'll discuss that, and then a lot about it came up yesterday. I don't know anybody who takes political advice from Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne's an idiot. Okay, I don't know anybody takes political advice from him. He doesn't understand politics. He said he and whoever met with Trump, they liked the platinum plan. What did you compare it to? Did you read Joe Biden's 22-page agenda to empower Black America? Pages 2 through 11 deal with economic empowerment. If you like Donald Trump's plan, you'll love Joe Biden's if you actually read it in the first place. But Anyway, the Congressional Black Caucus back in late September, they released a graphic that compares the Congressional Black Caucus Jobs and Justice Act 2020 with Donald Trump's Fool's Gold plan that he calls the Platinum Plan. I call it the Fool's Gold plan because that's what it is. It's Fool's Gold. All right. And we've compared the two plans, Joe Biden's 22-page agenda. We compared that to Donald Trump's 1.5-page agenda. And you can read them yourself and see whose plan is much better for African Americans, whose plan is more realistic. Okay. So this graphic here compares the CBC's Jobs and Justice Act 2020 that we talked about here on this show. It compares that to Donald Trump's Fool's Gold plan. All right. So we're going to do a comparison between the two because a lot of people aren't familiar with this and they need to know about it. All right. Okay. And then today's when we history segment this date in African American history, we'll look at October 30th, 1974 in Zaire, when Muhammad Ali George in the Rumble in the Jungle heavy that happened today in 74, October 30th, 1974. All right. All right, so how's everybody doing? We're broadcasting on our social media platforms, also our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, and I'm Michael M. Hotep, IMHOTEP. So everybody watching on our social media platforms, please share this broadcast. Also invite your friends to tune in. All right, so it is Friday, October 30th, 2020. And we're live here, right here on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation and Future Radio. Those watching on social media platforms, you see me wearing my Muhammad Ali shirt and one of my Muhammad Ali shirts. I have more than one. And once again, the reason why I'm wearing this is because this is October 30th, the anniversary of Muhammad Ali beating George Foreman in Zaire in the Rumble in the Jungle. All right, now on the African History Network show, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world. Because right knowledge corrects wrong behavior. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. So when you control the radius of a man's thoughts, you can control the circumference of his actions, because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know. Now, we deal with a number of different topics here on the African History Network show. We deal with current events and history and politics, education, economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, relationships, love, sex, health issues, and much, much more. I'm going to bring a sex expert on. We're going to talk about sex, maybe Kenya K. Stevens or Sexpert Tayomi or somebody, because it's late night, so we can get away with more stuff here late at night. So, okay, anyway. And much, much more. Sign up for our email newsletter. Text the word Kemet, Kemet, to 22828 to sign up for our email newsletter. Also visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Sign up for our email newsletter there as well. If you'd like to stop with information, you can donate to the African History Network. $, the AHN Show through Cash App. $, the AHN Show through Cash App. Then also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show. PayPal.me/the AHN Show. Okay, so the donations definitely help because we're here 6 days a week instead of 1 day a week. And that helps us keep doing the research and stay on the air. All right, so how's everybody doing? The call-in number is 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number if you have a question or comment. Let's go to this first story here before the break. We talked about this on Roland Martin Unfiltered today, the Friday, October 30th edition, and we'll share excerpts of me on Roland Martin Unfiltered. We'll share that on our Sunday night, this Sunday, our Sunday night show.
Update on the Breonna Taylor case. Louisville police officer Sergeant Jonathan Mattingly sues Breonna Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, for emotional distress, assault, and battery. Emotional distress, assault, and battery. I mean, this reminds me, I forgot which movie it was in. The police officer, it was a movie, a documentary. Police officer hit somebody in the nose or lip and they bled on the shoe. And then officer charged them with assault and battery for bleeding on their shoes or something crazy like that. So here's what's happening in this case here. Sergeant Jonathan Mattingly has filed a civil lawsuit against the 26-year-old's boyfriend, against Breonna Taylor's boyfriend, for emotional distress, assault, and battery on the night of March 13th, 2020, when she was shot and killed. The lawsuit claims Louisville Sergeant Jonathan Mattingly experienced, quote, severe trauma, mental anguish, and emotional distress, end quote, because of Kenneth Walker's actions on March 13th, 2020. Okay, because of him defending himself and allegedly shooting at the officer one time, because they said Kenneth Walker said the officers did not identify themselves, did not knock on the door. They thought it was a home invasion. Taking place. Now, Officer Mattingly and two other officers entered Breonna Taylor's apartment early in the morning of March 13th with a warrant in an attempt to carry out a drug investigation. Now, Kenneth Walker, who is a licensed gun owner, Kenneth Walker said he thought the officers were intruders, and he allegedly fired a shot that hit Mattingly in the leg. Police opened fire, killing Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor had no criminal record and no drugs were found. Now, the lawsuit states, quote, Walker's conduct in shooting Mattingly is outrageous, intolerable, and offends all accepted standards of decency and morality. This is the lawsuit that Officer Mattingly has filed against Kenneth Walker. And the lawsuit cites one of the legal standards for intentional emotional distress. Now, Kenneth Walker was initially arrested and charged with attempted murder over the shooting, but charges were later dropped. Kenneth Walker subsequently sued the Louisville Metropolitan Police Department and also sought immunity based on the state's Stand Your Ground law, the Kentucky Stand Your Ground law. Now, Kenneth Walker's attorney called Sergeant Jonathan Mattingly's lawsuit, quote, baseless, called it a baseless attempt to further victimize and harass Kenny. A baseless attempt to further victimize and harass Kenny. Quote, Kenneth Walker is protected by law under KRS 503.085 and is immune, Kentucky state law, and is immune from both criminal prosecution and civil liability, as he was acting in self-defense in his own home, end quote, attorney Steve Romanes said in a statement obtained by CBS News. Now, if we go and look at the article, now this article here from CBS News is from October 30th, 2020. We go back and we look at the one we've talked about before from the USA Today, September 27th, 2020, entitled Ballistics Don't Support AG Claim That Kenneth Walker Shot Cop. Ballistics don't support AG claim that Kenneth Walker shot cop. On page 2 of this article, it says the Kentucky State Police report says that, quote, due to limited markings of comparative value, end quote, due to limited markings of comparative value, the 9mm bullet that hit and exited Officer Mattingly was neither, quote, identified nor eliminated as having been fired, end quote, from Walker's gun, meaning that based upon the ballistics report, the Kentucky State Police could not determine that the bullet that was fired from Kenneth Walker's gun hit Officer Mattingly. But when you continue in the article, and we'll go to break right after this, it said Attorney General Cameron said Officer Brett Hankinson had been eliminated as the shooter because 3 officers carried a 40 caliber handguns while Kenneth Walker had a 9mm. Now on CNN that night, Wednesday night on CNN, attorney Steve Romanes, one of Kenneth Walker's attorneys, said he had obtained a Louisville Metro Police Department record showing that Officer Brett Hankinson had also been issued a 9mm handgun also, but Attorney General Daniel Cameron did not say that in his press conference when he announced what the charges would be or what they wouldn't be. We'll continue this on the other side of the break. Listen to the African History Network show right here on 910 a.m. the Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm Michael M. Hotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. For 25 years, the Black History 101 Mobile Museum has carried on the rich legacy of the Black Museum movement in America by showcasing original artifacts of the Black experience at colleges, universities, K-12 schools, corporations, libraries, conferences, and cultural events, making it the most traversed Black History mobile exhibit in American history. Dr. Khalid El Hakim is the founder of the Black History 101 Mobile Museum, and he is a highly sought-after public speaker on topics of Black history, social studies, education, museum studies, hip-hop, and race relations. Dr. Khalid was named among the change makers for NBC Universal's Erase the Hate campaign and listed as one of the 100 men of distinction for Black enterprise. He recently founded the Michigan Hip Hop Archive on the campus of Western Michigan University. The Black History 101 Mobile Museum is currently scheduling in-person and virtual exhibits nationwide. For more information, please contact Dr. Khalid Al Hakim directly at 313-645-4197, 313-645-4197, or visit their website at blackhistorymobilemuseum.com. That's blackhistorymobilemuseum.com. You can also email him at bhistory101@yahoo.com, bhistory101@yahoo.com. Revitalizing, restorative, indulgent, essential. Crea's Love Butter Raw Shea Butter Collection. How do we know if our skin products are truly delivering all of the health benefits they should? Crea's Love Butter is a thoughtful combination of hand-selected ingredients designed to enhance the level of your skin's health. Crea's Love Butter is an ideal gift for health-conscious loved ones and is a pleasure to both give and receive. They've harnessed the restorative powers of raw shea butter and infused it with their love and passion for revitalizing skin that you will undoubtedly feel from the first use. Visit their website today, creaslovebutter.com. CREAS, creaslovebutter.com. Put your skin in the game. Are you ready for a new Black economy? Well, Happy, The Role of Economics in the Development of Civilization, is a brand new documentary that will set you on a new path of knowledge and enlightenment. The Happy film gives viewers a snapshot of our economic history from the dawn of civilization right up until today. The underlying theme of the film is the interrelationship between the 3 essential components of economics, politics, and culture. Happy brings together the brightest and most prolific minds in the fields of psychology, history, business, and politics, such as Dr. Leonard Jeffries, Professor James Small, Dr. Julian Malveaux, Dr. Zahi Hawass, and Jabari Osazi, and more. Together, they deliver a message of cooperative economics, financial independence, and a pride that we can all be inspired by. The film is on sale now. It's streaming on all digital formats, or for DVD, please visit Happy, H-A-P-I, happyfilm.com. Use offer code Happy, AHN, for a 10% discount. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation, the Future Radio. Yeah, I'm your host, Brother Michael M. Hotep. It is Friday, October 30th. You can hang out with Michael M. Hotep on Fridays. I guess. I don't know if that's good or bad, but okay. But anyway, at least for an hour. All right. At least for an hour on Fridays. Calling numbers 313-778-7600, 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a question or comment, 313-778-7600. Now, right before the break, we were talking about an update in the Breonna Taylor case. Now, on yesterday's show, we talked about the two jurors, juror number 1 and juror number 2, who have spoken out, and they have said that they were not given the option for homicide charges. Okay. Gayle King did a fantastic interview with them October 27th. It appears CBS Morning News. We look at the article from cbsnews.com from October 27th, 2020. Breonna Taylor, grand juror, says Louisville police actions before her death were criminal. Breonna Taylor, grand juror, says Louisville police actions before her death were criminal. Okay. And we see that the two jurors who asked to remain anonymous for their safety said they were never given the option to consider murder or manslaughter charges, with one of the jurors calling the police actions and behaviors the night Taylor was killed criminal. Okay. Juror number 1 said they wanted to consider other charges, but were told, quote, there would be none because the prosecutors did not feel they could make them stick, end quote. Okay. Go back and watch our Thursday, October 29th show where we got deep into this. Okay. And then we have this story coming out today about the civil lawsuit. All right. So Kenny, let's see, even the most basic understanding of Kentucky's stand your ground law and the castle doctrine evidences this fact. One would think that breaking into the apartment, executing his girlfriend, and framing him for a crime in an effort to cover up her murder would be enough for them, attorney Steve Romanis for Ken Walker said. Quote, yet this baseless attempt to further victimize and harass Kenny indicates otherwise, end quote. Now, in the statement obtained by CBS News, Officer Sergeant Jonathan Mattingly's attorney, Kent Wicker, voiced his support for his client. Quote, Mattingly was shot and nearly killed by Kenneth Walker. He's entitled to and should use the legal process to seek a remedy for the injury that Walker has accused him, end quote. All right. See, this sounds like this to me sounds kind of like payback or something petty. So we'll stay on top of this, and also check out the article from NBCnews.com that we posted on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network. Check out the article from NBC News. Louisville officer involved in Breonna Taylor's death files lawsuit against her boyfriend. Louisville officer involved in Breonna Taylor's death files lawsuit against her boyfriend. Okay, so check out that. And then on our Sunday night show, we're still on Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, I'm on 6 nights a week. It is what it is, I guess. I don't know. It is what it is, but I'm on 6 nights a week. Okay. And on our Sunday night show, since we have 2 hours, we'll get into that also. Shout out to everybody watching us on our social media platforms. Follow us on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network. And my YouTube channel, Michael M. Hotep, IMHOTEP. We got Erica Watson, Pamela Day, Danielle Bridges, Christy. How you doing? Christy Price. Just a few of the people watching us. And we got Karen, Maurice, Anita in Detroit. Who we had? James. Okay. The call-in number is 313-778-7600, 313-778-7600. We have Shakita operating the boards. Our board operator tonight, Jalen, kicked it off, and Shakita came in as the relief pitcher, the relief board operator. All right. And she sent me a message. Oh, okay. That's the other message. Okay. All right. When we look at coronavirus, now, even though Donald Trump wants to downplay the severity of coronavirus, Corona is not having it. U.S. reports nearly 100,000 cases of coronavirus in one day as infections surge in battleground states. Imagine that. Donald Trump keeps holding these super spread events. Now, on yesterday's show, we told you about when dumbass Donald was in Tampa, Florida, and it was 87 degrees out there, and you had 17 people who needed medical attention, people passing out, etc. Okay. Heat at Trump rally sends a dozen attendees to the hospital. A couple of days before that, he was at a rally and people outside freezing, almost freezing their behinds off. Okay. So, look, this is what happens when you follow an idiot. This is nothing good is going to happen following a dumbass like Trump. I'm just telling you. Okay. So check out this article from NBCnews.com. Heat at Trump rally sends a dozen attendees to the hospital. All right. Check out that one. We see here with coronavirus, the United States reported nearly 100,000 new cases. It was a little over 98,000 new coronavirus cases on Friday, October 30th, setting a record as a fall wave of infections surge in every swing state that will be crucial to next week's presidential election. Okay, now Donald Trump's super spreader events will contribute to the spread of coronavirus. Mark my words on this. The number of infections nationwide surpassed 9 million reported infections on Friday, just 15 days after the tally hit 8 million. At least 229,000 deaths have been linked to coronavirus. All right. Now, a growing number of government scientists and physicians are pushing back against Donald Trump's political agenda when it comes to the pandemic. We see state health officials say they do not have enough money to distribute a coronavirus vaccine once it is approved. This is another reason why you need the HEROES Act passed, that $3.4 trillion bill, and it's stuck in the Senate. Okay. In Moscow, Mitch McConnell, they came out with their $500 billion skinny bill, which is a joke. And then after they rammed Amy Coney Barrett through and got her confirmed to the U.S. Supreme Court, then the very next day, what did Moscow Mitch McConnell do? He sent the Senate on a recess till November 9th so they could go back in their states and campaign. Not pass a bill to bail out the American people, but to fight for their Senate seats. Every last one of these traitorous Republicans should be voted out of office. 23 Republican seats are up for re-election November 3rd, 2020 in the U.S. Senate. Now, U.S. household spending, the primary engine of the economy, soared in September before coronavirus infections started increasing across the country. Fresh economic data shows. Look at these updates from the Washington Post, okay, their coronavirus updates. When we look here, let me see. Okay, we got that. When we look at 82 million people have already voted in early voting across the country. And that is I think that is a record. The close to the election, experts are recommending voters hand deliver. This close to the election, experts are recommending voters hand deliver their ballots to drop boxes rather than put them in the mail. It's too late to put them in the mail. In most states, you need to hand deliver them. All right, now, let's see here. Okay, so we got coronavirus. Today, at least 9 states have set single-day records for coronavirus for new cases. Illinois, Iowa, Maine, Minnesota, Montana, North Dakota, Ohio, South Dakota, Utah, and West Virginia. Okay. Today, at least 9 states set single-day records. Now, we also see at least 41 states have experienced a percentage increase in cases over the past 14 days. We also see that hospitalizations have increased about 46% over this time last month as well. All right, check out the updates from NBC News for coronavirus as well as Washington Post. Now, I want to get to this next story here. We've talked about the voter depression campaigns, these voter depression campaigns on social media. We talked about that last week, and you have different social media pages that are discouraging African Americans, Hispanics from voting, saying things like your vote won't count. You can't, voting won't eliminate racism. Why should you vote? It's a waste of time. Democrats, Republicans are all the same, all type of nonsense like this, right? Some of those people live in the U.S., some of them don't. a lot of it is a bunch of nonsense. You have people say things like, oh, the Electoral College chooses the president. We don't choose the president. Then when you ask them questions about how the Electoral College works, they can't answer those questions, because I've had it happen. I've had people call into this show with that nonsense and they got embarrassed. It'll really help your argument if you know what you're talking about before you call in. I'm just saying. But in National Public Radio, NPR.org, has an article from October 30th. Has an article that came out today. Black and Latino voters flooded with disinformation in elections' final days. Black and Latino voters flooded with disinformation in elections' final days. And this once again deals with this voter depression campaign, these voter depression tactics. It talks about, let's see, Black and Latino voters are being flooded with similar messages in the final days of the election, according to voting rights activists and experts who track disinformation. One of the examples they give is a man named Murphy Bannerman. Murphy Bannerman first noticed the post this summer in a Facebook group called Being Black in Arizona. Being Black in Arizona. They were Facebook memes. The memes were trying to push this narrative of the system is a mess, and there's no point in you participating. The system is a mess, and there's no point in you participating. Bannerman said. So, and let's see. Murphy Bannerman is a female. She recalled statements such as Democrats and Republicans are the same. There's no point in voting. Obama didn't do anything for you this term. Why should you vote for a Democrat this time around? Interesting. So now when I see memes like this, right, especially when they claim to cite facts, notice they don't cite. Notice they usually don't cite any sources. Because I'm a person, I'll go research your sources. I'm a researcher. Okay, people that watch my show know this. So I'll go, you come at me with some stuff, I'm gonna go research your sources if I haven't already read them in the first place, because half the time I already know where you got it from, and I know whether it's true or false. Okay, I had one idiot, this is about 3 or 4 years ago, this dumbass cited a study. He was citing statistics about the percentage of homicides of white people committed by African Americans. And what he was citing was a lie. I didn't even have to go research it to know it was a lie. Okay. He was saying something like 85% of white people killed by African Americans. That's a lie. No. About 83% of white people who are killed by other white people. Okay. You kill where you live. So he cited some idiotic study. I went and researched and found out it was bogus. Okay. And then provided him with evidence to show why what he said was a lie. Okay. So it's like, I'm not the one to run that stuff on. Seriously. So Murphy Bannerman was alarmed when she saw these memes. She had already been on high alert for these kinds of messages because of her job as deputy director of Election Protection Arizona, a nonpartisan group that helps people vote. Now, African American and Latino voters are being flooded with similar messages in the final days of the election, according to the voting rights activists and experts who track disinformation. Now, we talked about some of this here on this show. We've gone through and debunked a lot of this nonsense. Okay. There was one, I remember somebody sent me this meme of Kamala Harris. It was a mosaic of Kamala Harris. We talked about this last week. A mosaic of Kamala Harris, and the mosaic of her is allegedly made up of all the black men that she incarcerated, right? But when you look closely at this mosaic, it's the same faces over and over and over again. Who made that meme, and why people are circulating it around? And why don't you do research before you circulate stuff like that? So I hit them with some fact checks. I haven't heard back from them. They sent me that meme through Instant Messenger. I hit them with 2 fact checks that and information about disinformation campaign. I haven't heard back from them. Maybe they unfriended me, which is perfectly fine with me, because I got 1,050 Facebook friend requests. right now, and I'm at like 4,500 friends because I don't really direct people to my personal page. I direct them to my fan page. So, okay. I mean, it's fine with me. You're really doing me a favor. So, these tactics echo. We'll pull up this article here on npr.org also. These tactics echo Russian election interference. These tactics echo Russian election interference on social media 4 years ago when operatives working for the Kremlin-based Internet Research Agency, you know, we talked about the Internet Research Agency a lot here in this show, especially when we talked about the Mueller report. Volume 1, Mueller report deals with Russian interference, the Russian disinformation campaign. And then if we look at it, this is the Mueller report. This is the version from the Washington Post that includes related materials. We look at page 31 of volume 1 of the Mueller report. They talk about pages 31 through about 42 deals with the disinformation campaign targeting African Americans. We talked about that extensively on this show because I saw when it was happening real time in 2016. You know, I know what I'm looking at. I have a background in marketing, so I understand messaging. I know what I'm looking at. And one of the things that we saw in 2016 was all these quote unquote news sources popping up that you never heard of before. All right. So I'm the type of person. I know how to spot like real news sources from fake ones. So one of the things I do is I go read your article and I go read all your source articles also to see where'd you get the information from and if the article that you wrote is congruent with the source article. So I'm seeing articles being written. And when I go Google keywords and things like this, okay, the only news sources carrying these articles are like news sources you never heard of before. It's like none of the mainstream news sources are carrying these articles that's supposed to be breaking news. Because a lot of this stuff was just fake. It was just fake stories, just stuff just being made up. So we're seeing something similar like this now. It may not be the fake news sources popping up, but it's like with Facebook memes, okay? And they're targeting African Americans and Hispanics. So these tactics echo Russian election interference on social media 4 years ago when operatives working for the Kremlin-based Internet Research Agency focused heavily on America's racial divisions, according to a Senate Intelligence Committee report on Russian interference. Now, when the Senate Intelligence Committee reports, and there were, I think, 2 that I know of, we talked about that here as well. There were articles from the Washington Post that break this down. Okay, just research Senate Intelligence Committee report on Russian interference. Senate Intelligence Committee report on Russian interference, and Washington Post has articles dealing with this. If we look at this one here from October 8th, 2019 from npr.org, Senate report, Russians use social media mostly to target race in 2016. Senate report, Russians used social media mostly to target race in 2016. And when you go look at this, they used all types of memes of Malcolm X, memes of red, black, and green, all types of stuff like this. There were fake Black Lives Matter. There were fake Black Lives Matter Facebook pages, etc. Okay. Okay, so those watching on Facebook, is this coming through all right? Somebody says it keeps freezing up. On my end, it looks good. All right, so I want to make sure. Okay, so we just posted a link to this article here from October 8th, 2019. Senate report, Russians use social media mostly to target race in 2016. Let's go back to the main article here from NPR.org. Black and Latino voters flooded with disinformation in elections' final days. So In the Senate Intelligence Report, all right, from October 2019, an excerpt of the report said, quote, no single group of Americans was targeted by the IRA, Internet Research Agency, information operatives more than African Americans. No single group of Americans was targeted by Internet Research Agency information operatives more than African Americans. By far, race and related issues were the preferred target of the information warfare campaign designed to divide the country in 2016, the Senate Intelligence Report stated. Now, this year, these campaigns are even more widespread. Voting rights activists say, and while in most cases it's not clear who is behind the disinformation, the intent is unmistakable: to depress turnout among people of color by fueling cynicism and distrust in the political process. The intent is unmistakable: to depress turnout among people of color by fueling cynicism and distrust in the political process. And let's turn on the screen share because I want to make sure everybody sees this. Because if you don't remember anything else from today's show, you want to understand this disinformation campaign that's taking place to discourage African Americans and Hispanics from voting. Now, why would they be so concerned about African Americans and Hispanics voting? I can't even figure out why. I don't understand why. Black and Latino voters flooded with disinformation in elections final days. This is written by Shannon Bond for NPR.org, October 30th, 2020. And let's see here. No single group of Americans was targeted by the Internet Research Agency. Oh, let me go back up here. Here we go. Okay. Black and Latino voters flooded with disinformation in elections final days. Okay. That's the article. And then no single group of Americans was targeted by the IRA information operatives more than African Americans. And when I listen to some of our people today, they're just spouting just a bunch of conspiratorial nonsense. Haven't gone researched it, don't understand it, just spouting nonsense. By far, race and related issues were the preferred target of the information warfare campaign designed to divide the country in 2016, the report said. Okay, this year, these campaigns, okay, we'll go to the phone lines just a minute here. This year, these campaigns are even more widespread, voting rights activists say. And while in most cases, it's not clear who is behind the disinformation, the intent is unmistakable: to depress turnout among people of color by fueling cynicism and distrust in the political process. What makes these hoaxes so powerful is not where they come from, but how successfully they tap into the voters' worries. What makes these hoaxes so powerful is not where they come from, but how successfully they tap into the voters' worries. Quote, when you think about the 2016 Russian influence, especially among Black voters, it was basically bringing up internal discussions that Black people have been having for decades, said Dwight Bullard, political director for the New Florida Majority, a progressive voting rights group. Okay, now doubts about whether anyone's vote really matters or whether politicians truly have Black people's best interests at heart are, quote, a discussion at the barbershop, end quote, he said. That's a discussion that happens around kitchen tables every weekend. Okay. Now, activist Andre Banks said these unwelcome suggestions that Black Americans sit out the election are the latest chapter in a long history of voter suppression. Okay, so you have to ask yourself the question, well, who benefits from African Americans not voting? The people in power whipping your ass with laws and policies and politics. The people in office who are blocking policies that are beneficial to African Americans. So you can't, on the one hand, right, protest for George Floyd, but then on the other hand, you ain't gonna vote for policies to be put in place to keep another George Floyd from happening, or you're not gonna vote for people who are vote for the George Floyd Justice Act in the Senate that already passed the House of Representatives. We can't, on the one hand, protest the killing of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, but then on the other hand, don't vote for criminal justice reform and police reform and things like this, and don't vote people out of office who are blocking those bills. That's not logical. That's not logical. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Oops, I forgot. Should have blown this up. Okay, blow it up like that so you can see it. Let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to line one. We have Maurice. Maurice, welcome to the African History Network show. Tell us where you're calling from. We have a few minutes before the show's over.
All right, Hotel. My brother Michael.
Hey, how you doing, Maurice?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm calling from Chicago.
Chicago, okay.
Yeah, and basically, let me take this off. Basically, just real quick, I was having a debate with one of these trolls popping up on my Facebook page, and we were talking about if Joe Biden wins, which I hope he wins, the presidency, packing the courts. And I was just letting him know that I think that the rationale is that, Republicans are hypocrites. And if you want to change the balance of power, because right now Republicans have it, I think it's 6-3 in the conservatives right now.
Yeah, on the Supreme Court. On the Supreme Court. Yeah.
Right. On the Supreme Court, absolutely. And I think he should pack the courts. I think he should at least consider it due to the fact that these big hypocrites, back in 2016, they blocked Obama from, I believe it was Merrick Garland.
Merrick Garland, yeah.
Right now in 2020, absolutely. And right now, 2020, like right before the election, boom, now we got this, what is her name? Amy
Coney Barrett. Yep.
And, right, totally. So I was like, I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I really think that he should consider packing the courts, granted if he wins, to balance out power. And I just want to ask you.
It's absolutely
your opinion on that.
It's absolutely correct, because McConnell did it about face from the standard that he set in 2016 when they blocked Merrick Garland. It was about 8 or 9 months before the presidential election. They did not give Republicans led by Moscow Mitch McConnell in the Senate did not give Merrick Garland a hearing. Okay, but here they're going to run Amy Coney Barrett through and got it confirmed 8 days before the November 3rd election. And McConnell said, well, in situations where you had the same party that controlled the Senate that was in the White House, they went on and they went on and confirmed the judges. Okay, so this is the game that you want to play. When the shoe's on the other foot, we need to kick you upside your head and pack the court, because there is no limit based upon the Constitution of how many Supreme Court justices you can have. Originally, there were 5, then it goes to 6. At one point, there's 10. Now they're 9. Now, Republicans have been packing the federal court, the federal bench. They've gotten 218 federal judges confirmed, many of them very unqualified federal judges. Some of them, the American Bar Association came out and said these people are totally unqualified to be federal judges. So Republicans do not have a leg to stand on. They wielded power. They're trying to control the federal courts for the next 25, 30, 40 years. Okay. And when the shoe gets on the other foot, okay, then we need to do the same thing to you and pack the courts. That's exactly what needs to happen. Because they have no morality. And if they had a shred of integrity, early February 2020, when they had the impeachment trial in the U.S. Senate, they would have voted this traitor out of office. But they violated their oath of office that they took to defend the U.S. Constitution against enemies, both foreign and domestic. So they have no leg to stand on. They have no argument. All right, brother.
Yes. Thank you so much, brother.
All right.
God bless you, brother.
All right. Thanks. Listen to my Sunday night show. Okay. How much more time we have here? Jalen. Who we have? Shakita, text me how much more time we have. All right. We got a few more minutes here. We're going to continue on my social media platforms for a little while longer. Follow me at the African History Network, the African History Network on Facebook, and Michael M. Hotep on YouTube, IMHOTEP. And also, if you like this type of information, you can donate to the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, and then also through PayPal, paypal.me / the AHN Show, paypal.me / the AHN Show. Okay, let's go back to this. Article here. This is very important. And, you know, last week we dealt with the disinformation campaigns also that are taking place. NBC News has a big article dealing with this. I was trying to find an article from NBC News. I have so many articles here. I don't know where that one is. But if we go back to the one from NPR.org. And where the heck is that one? I want to give you the name of this one here from NBC News, but we'll find it. I don't know where that one went, but let's go back to this one from NPR.org. Okay. So this year, the campaigns are even more widespread, voting rights activists say, and while in most cases it's not clear who's behind the disinformation campaign, the internet is unmistakable. The intent is unmistakable to depress turnout among people of color by fueling cynicism and distrust in the political system. Okay. Now, activist Andre Banks said these unwelcome suggestions that Black Americans sit out the election are the latest chapter in a long history of voter suppression. Quote, we are now talking about this misinformation as a part of the same trajectory as a poll tax, as a literacy test, he said. A sustained campaign targeted at Black Americans and often brown Americans, Hispanic Americans as well, or Latinos, to limit our political power, to limit our ability to shape the decisions that are made in this country. Even though our taxpayer dollars fund these decisions, they want to limit our ability to determine who's in office writing policies. Now, those concerns spurred Andre Banks to co-found Win Black, W-I-N, Win Black, a campaign to guard against the kind of disinformation that spread online 4 years ago. One of the Russian efforts that got the most online engagement was a Facebook group called Blacktivists. Blacktivists. That was a Facebook group that wasn't even started or controlled by African Americans. That was created by Russians. Their strategy, Andre Banks said, was, quote, masquerading as Black Americans, drawing people into conversation and ultimately turning that conversation toward bad information and often toward a sort of deep cynicism that made people sort of less inspired to participate, end quote. It's hard to measure the precise impact of these efforts at the polls. Black voter turnout in 2016 was lower than in 2008 and 2012 when President Obama was on the ticket, but still high compared with earlier election cycles. But it was the lowest African-American voter turnout in 20 years. 59.6% of African-Americans registered to vote turned out. Pew Research has the research on this. I've already read it. 2016 was the first presidential election in 50 years that you also did not have the full power of the Voting Rights Act, because Section 5 was struck down because of the Supreme Court case of Shelby County versus Holder 2013 U.S. Supreme Court case. And in 2016, there were 868 fewer polling places. There was a rampant voter suppression right after Shelby County versus Holder. 14 new states come out with new voter ID laws. There was rampant voter suppression. There was voter depression taking place. There was Russian intervention. We were getting hit from all directions. And many of us today still don't know what happened in 2016. So we got to understand this and make sure it doesn't happen again. If our vote didn't matter, why do people work so hard to suppress our vote? Okay. All right. We're going to continue on our social media platforms, The African History Network on Facebook and Michael M. Hotep on YouTube, IMHOTEP. All right. We're out of time here. We'll be back Sunday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember, at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world. Because right now, it's correct wrong behavior is not over till we win. Wakanda forever. Stay tuned for Michael Baston. And we'll talk to you Sunday night. Peace. Have you tasted the world famous No Frowny Brownie yet from the Pink Bakery? If not, what are you waiting for? They are vegan, gluten-free, and free of the big 8 allergens. While eating their No Frowny brownies, the fabulous Miss Tabitha Brown said they were very good. Very good. And you know, if she says that, they are. The Pink Bakery is the first black-owned, big 8 allergen-free baking mix company. Go to thepinkbakery.com, that's thepinkbakery.com, to order their No Frowny Brownie Mix today.
Melanized Media is an independently black-owned and operated film company. We specialize in producing culturally enriching black films and videos at melanizedmedia.com. Join us every Sunday for Melanized Nights, where we screen a socially conscious documentary film or black historic presentation. That's every Sunday evening at 7 p.m. Visit melanizedmedia.com to learn more and to register. That's MELANEYES media.com. Peace.
Sage and Elm Apothecary creates unique products, especially with you in mind. They use simple ingredients such as whole fruits, herbs, and vegetables. Each product crafted offers a unique plant-based experience. Their holistic approach to self-care formulate their product inventory. They're proud to serve our community of plant-based product supporters and offerings for the entire family. Sage and Elm Apothecary designs over 60 different beautifully handcrafted soaps, natural toothpaste, hydrating oils, deodorants, face masks, shampoos, conditioners, and so much more. Visit their website at sageandelmapothecary.com. That's sageandelmapothecary.com, APOTHECARY, and find out about their upcoming events throughout the year. Allow Sage and Elm Apothecary to provide for all of your plant-based needs. Use promo code AHNWinter20, AHNWinter20 for a special discount. All right, stand by, everybody. We're going to continue here for a little while longer. All right, how's everybody doing? Share this broadcasting on social media platforms. Visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. African American business owners, post the name of your business here on the thread of the broadcast. We'll let you know how you can advertise with the African History Network. And then also donate to the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App. Last week, When Black and a partner group in Texas put up billboards assuring voters it's safe to return their ballots by mail. That was in response to flyers that appeared in some majority Latino neighborhoods claiming falsely that the U.S. Postal Service would collect voters' information from ballots and put it in a government database. This is false information. This is a disinformation campaign designed to depress the vote. Okay. That was in response to flyers that appeared in some majority Latino neighborhoods claiming falsely that the U.S. Postal Service will collect voters' information. Okay. Collect voters' information and put it into a government database. Now, election officials in many states say it is not too late for voters to return absentee ballots by mail and are encouraging them instead to deliver their ballots by hand or in person. Okay. Election officials in many states say it is now too late. I should say now too late for voters to return absentee ballots. They should deliver their ballots by hand or vote in person. Now, groups tracking disinformation have also noted attacks on Senator Kamala Harris. The Democratic vice presidential nominees, such as false claims about her racial identity and her history as a prosecutor in California. We dispelled a lot of those myths here on this show. Now, not all of the online disinformation campaigns targeting Black and Latino Americans are trying to suppress their vote. Twitter this month suspended accounts that were pretending to be Black supporters of Trump, some of which had gained thousands of followers. Okay, we talked about that as well. If we look at, let's see here. We know the Guardian.com had an article from what was that? October 13th, 2020, dealing with fake Black profiles that were pro-Trump. We also see abcnews.com and an article from Sunday, October 25th, 2020, minority communities fighting back against disinformation ahead of election. Minority communities fighting back against disinformation ahead of election. So this disinformation campaign, this voter depression campaign, we've been talking about that here on the show. Now, if we look at these fake Black Trump accounts, right? BlackAmericaWeb.com had an article from October 15th. Fake Blacks for Trump accounts using digital blackface busted on Twitter. Fake Blacks for Trump accounts using digital blackface busted on Twitter. Then we look at NBCnews.com. This is from August 9th, 2020. Facebook removes troll farm posing as African American support for Donald Trump. Facebook removes troll farm posing as African American support for Donald Trump. Facebook removed hundreds of accounts on Thursday from, this is around April 9th, 2020, from a foreign troll farm posing as African Americans in support of Donald Trump and QAnon supporters. It also removed hundreds of fake accounts linked to conservative media outlet, the Epoch Times, EPOCH, which is a propaganda news site. The Epoch Times that pushed pro-Trump conspiracy theories about coronavirus and protests in the U.S. Facebook took down the accounts as part of its enforcement against coordinated inauthentic behavior. Okay, coordinated inauthentic behavior, which is the use of fake accounts to inflate the reach of content or products on social media. The foreign pro-Trump troll farm was based in Romania and pushed content on Instagram under names like Black People Vote for Trump and on Facebook under We Love Our President. Okay, so then we look at the article from theguardian.com. theguardian.com, October 13th, 2020. Twitter suspends accounts for posing as Black Trump supporters. Twitter suspends accounts for posing as Black Trump supporters. All right. So all this is taking place. This voter depression, this disinformation campaign. Okay. All this is taking place right now, real time. We let's see, let's pull up. Let's try to pull this from the Guardian. Go read these articles so we don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. Okay, because it's too late in the game to be ignorant. I'm just trying to tell you. Let's see here. Let's bring this up on the screen share. So you can see this article here from The Guardian. Twitter suspends accounts for posing as Black Trump supporters. Company reports spam and platform manipulation by accounts containing identical language. All right, this is from October 13th, 2020. So check out this article. Then if we look at News1.com had an article as well. Fake black people vote for Trump account is part of huge takedowns by Facebook. Facebook took down 798 Facebook accounts and 259 Instagram accounts attached around that, attached to that. Now, where is, okay, this is the one I was looking for. NBCnews.com had they did a bigger article on, with days left, black voters face orchestrated efforts to discourage voting. We talked about this last week. Let's pull up this one here. This is very important. Share this with our youth. Share this with the millennials, because a lot of them think they know everything and they don't realize they're spouting a bunch of disinformation campaign. But see, if you don't understand history, you don't understand politics, you'll fall for a lot of this stuff. This is why I was telling a lot of protesters out marching and protesting. It was like, everything you protesting against is usually based upon laws that were written by people that were voting in the office, or they were people who were appointed to positions by people who were voted in the office. So you have to have people in office to properly respond to your protests. Otherwise, they just turn the police on you, say, go sit your ass down somewhere. Okay, with days, now this is an extensive article here. Everybody needs to read this one. This is from NBCnews.com, October 16th, 2020. With days left, black voters face orchestrated efforts to discourage voting. With days left, black voters face orchestrated efforts to discourage voting. Black voters are being discouraged from voting at all. And let's see here, the question from Humphrey. Okay, so they talk about in this article here, they talk about Cedric Humphrey. Okay, he asked a question from Joe Biden. I could tell you've been listening. Okay, never mind. But in this paragraph here, among all of the social media disinformation campaigns that have preyed on voters in the run-up to the November 3rd, 2020 election, one domestic originated tactic. Load this up. Paragraph here, the question posed to the former vice president and the Democratic presidential nominee is part of a broader trend unfolding in the final days of the election. Okay. Among all of the social media disinformation campaigns that have preyed on voters in the run-up to November 3rd, one domestic originated tactic has become particularly troubling. Some black social media influencers, as well as black community groups on Facebook, who are more progressive than Biden and his running mate, Senator Kamala Harris, are targeting black voters less by deceiving them and more by what experts describe as voter depression. Now, voter depression isn't about giving voters the wrong information that would keep them from making it to the polls, like discrediting mail-in ballots by disparaging the Postal Service. Okay, rather than voter depression, the goal is to make people who would otherwise vote feel that there's no reason to do so, stoking inaction and apathy. This approach has been a particular challenge for the Biden campaign, while the same voter depression tactics aren't being used as much on Republican voters, said Jacqueline Mason, a senior investigative researcher at First Draft, a nonprofit that provides research and training for journalists. Okay, so check out the rest. article here. Okay, we'll post a link here on the thread of the broadcast. It gets deep into it. All right, and then also look at the one from npr.org. That we were talking about, dealing with Black and Latino voters targeted with disinformation in elections' final days. Okay, how's everybody doing? All right, so check out those two articles. All right, so lastly, I want to let's deal with some history here. I think this is the last topic. October 30th, 1974. In Kinshasa, Zaire, Muhammad Ali defended his title. Muhammad Ali fought George Foreman to take back his title. Okay, against George Foreman. And let's go to this clip here. We'll talk about what happened. 32-year-old Muhammad Ali becomes a heavyweight champion of the world for the second time when he knocks out 25-year-old George Foreman in the 8th round of the Rumble in the Jungle. I want to go to this clip. This is leading up to the fight. This is in Deer Lake in 1974. David Frost is interviewing Muhammad Ali inside the ring. This is some days before the fight. Okay, here's what happened. Hold on, let me turn up the audio. Hold on. Let's start it from the beginning.
I was fortunate enough to be at his training camp in Deer Lake for an interview. After we'd climbed into the ring, what followed was vintage Ali.
No problem. No problem. This will be the biggest upset since Sonny Liston. And I think it is befitting that I go out of boxing just like I came in, defeating a big, bad monster that nobody could destroy. A hard punch. I'm the underdog. If he hits me, I'm in trouble, like the Sonny Liston fight. But I came back and I shook the world and I got Liston. Now it's 10 years since Sonny Liston. I'm meeting another big, bad, strong monster knockout artist that beats everybody. Sonny Liston knocked out Patterson twice, and I was supposed to fall, but he didn't knock me out because he could hit hard, but he couldn't find nothing to hit. George Foreman knocked out Ken Norton, knocked out Joe Frazier. True, I didn't knock him out, but I'm so fast, I'm so hard hit, I'm so scientific. I'm a total different man from Frazier and Norton. Listen, David, when I meet this man, if you think the world was surprised when Nixon resigned, wait till I whip Foreman's behind. I'm telling you, David, I'm down to 215 pounds. Right now, I said it went 215. I'm fighting weight already. I usually train 6 weeks for fight. I've trained 4 months for fight. I'm chopping trees. I've done something special. I'm wrestling with an alligator. I've tussled
I believe you totally. I believe you
I have
completely.
tussled with a whale. I done handcuffed lightning, throw thunder in jail. Now you know I'm bad. Only last week I murdered a rock, injured a stone, hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean I make medicine sick. Man's in trouble. Listen, George Foreman, people are afraid of George Foreman. They talk about how hard he hits. The world has been deceived. You listen to me now. I've never told you wrong. The man don't hit hard. He knocked Joe Frazier down 6 times. He got up 6 times. Joe King Roman is Tokyo, Japan fight, the Puerto Rican champion, knocked him down 3 times. He jumped up 3 times. He knocked Ken Norton down 4 times. He jumped up 4 times. When have you ever saw the man say 7, 8, 9, 10, count his man out? When I hit Sonny Liston the second fight, he stayed out for the count of 10. Zoe Foley stayed out for the count of 10. Cleveland Williams stayed out for the count of 10. What few I have knocked out stayed down. Sugar Ray Robinson knocked him out for the count of 30. Joe Louis, Marciana, Jack Dempsey, Jack Johnson, Archie Moore, as a child, they knock him out cold. So this man has never knocked nobody out cold. He's a bully. He's slow. He has no skill, no footwork. He's awkward. And I have been giving him a name. I named Floyd Patterson the Rabbit. I named Sonny Liston the Bear. And he shall be known officially as the Mummy. The Mummy.
And why the Mummy?
Because he fights. When he's fighting, if you ever watch him in the ring, he drags like that after his opponent. and how's a mummy going to catch me? When you're fighting a mummy, you just keep a step ahead of the mummy. See? Yeah, just move on the mummy. No, mummy, I'm over here. No, mummy, I'm over here. Yeah, no, you're moving too fast. The mummy don't move that fast. Well, I'll tell you something, David. I shall be the mummy's curse that night. Have you heard of the mummy's curse?
Have I heard of the Mummy's curse?
Yes, it's going to be some fight. The greatest fight, the greatest event of all times. When I get to Kinshasa, Zaire, in Africa, 2 billion people will watch the fight, and that's 10 times the population of America. That's like a country 10 times bigger than America. 2 billion people, I found out, will fill, to give you an idea how many people it is, 2 billion people will fill an arena of 100,000 seats every night with new faces for 170 years.
That's a great
100,000 people every night, new faces for 170 years. And I draw that crowd, not George Foreman. It's my beautiful looks. It's my skill. It's my humbleness.
Your beauty and your humbleness. I think first of all it's your humbleness, and then it's your beauty, isn't it? I mean, because when you look in the mirror in the morning, it must be just a wonderful experience.
You know, I've been in the ring, David, now for probably 20 years, and I'm as pretty as you, and you announce so.
And slightly fitter. Which round is it going to end?
I'm not predicting the round. Could, but it puts me on the spot, because you worry about trying to predict the round. You might get him early, and you call yourself carrying him until that round, and you might slip up and get hurt. It's too much pressure. I predict, David, that I'm going to outdance him. I'm going to stick him. I'm going to be 3 times as fast. I'm going to punch him at will. I might not knock him out cold, but I'll TKO him. I predict a TKO. I predict that the fight will be stopped on cuts or bruises. I've been humiliated. Humiliation will stop this fight. The referee will just step in and stop, because I just be popping and popping and sticking and moving. I'm constant popping and wheel until the man just have to stop it.
You mean it's going to be the first world title fight ever stopped on the grounds of humiliation?
No, they've stopped a few of mine for that, and they've stopped other ones. But I'm serious. This man have 2 chances, slim and none. Man is in trouble.
Man,
He's got problems.
He's got problems. Have you done anything special, apart from wrestling with an alligator? In addition to that, have you done anything special this time? Diets?
Not just boxers. Any athlete have to refrain from anything that is bad for his health.
Right. And so therefore,
especially in a strenuous sport, football, basketball, baseball, wrestling, anything that takes stamina is hard. And anybody watching this evening, you yourself, you get up and jump around, man or woman, scuffle with somebody, wrestle with them for about 3 minutes, and watch how tiresome it gets. Serious wrestling and competition is tiresome. And for 15 rounds before 150,000 people, knowing 2 billion people are watching, takes a lot out of you. It makes you, and then you got the world's greatest fighter, one of the world's best, taking punches at your face, your body in little hard gloves on, and everything at stake, your future, your life, your family's investments, everything's at stake. This worries you. And the pressure, the excitement, the drama, even people who come to fights are nervous. And many of the fans here and yourself, I mean, the night you go to the fight, although you're not involved, you'll be nervous, just waiting for the bell to ring. Finally, these 2 men are going to clash. Who's going to win? Muhammad Ali or George Foreman? Both of them are great. One's got to fall, right? Someone's got to leave, and you're excited. You're not as dumb as you look, fella.
The setting for the rumble in the jungle was unlike any other I'd seen. Africa seemed to be welcoming home one or indeed 2 of its own. The odds being quoted against Ali were 6-1 or even 8-1 against. Remarkable odds in any 2-horse race.
All right, so that was so that's David Frost, the journalist David Frost, recounting his interview in 1974 with Muhammad Ali 4 weeks before the October 30th, 1974 fight, the Rumble in the Jungle. So here's what happened. October 30th, 1974, this comes from history.com, the official website of the History Channel. So 32-year-old Muhammad Ali on October 30th, 1974 becomes the heavyweight champion of the world for the second time when he knocks out 25-year-old champ George Foreman in the 8th round of the Rumble in the Jungle match in Kinshasa, Zaire. 7 years before this fight, in 1967, Muhammad Ali had lost his title when the government accused him of draft dodging and the boxing commission took away his license. His victory in Zaire made him only the second dethroned champ in history to regain his belt. The Rumble in the Jungle, which was the name promoted by Don King, who had initially tagged the bout from the slave ship to the championship, until Zaire's president caught wind of the idea and ordered all the posters burned, was Africa's first heavyweight championship. This fight was Africa's first heavyweight championship match. So the government of the they say West African country, but Zaire is not in West Africa. It's more Central Africa, basically. So the government of Zaire staged the event. Its president Mobutu Sese Seko, who was put in power by the CIA when Patrice Lumumba was overthrown in 1971. But personally paid each of the fighters $5 million simply for showing up, in hopes that it would draw the world's attention to the country's enormous beauty and vast reserves of natural resources. Ali agreed, quote, "I wanted to establish a relationship between American blacks and Africans," end quote, Ali wrote. The fight was about racial problems. Quote, "The fight was about racial problems, Vietnam, all that," Ali added. "The Rumble in the Jungle was a fight that made the whole country more conscious." The Rumble in the Jungle was a fight that made the whole country more conscious, end quote. Now, at 4:30 a.m. on October 30th, 1974, 60,000 spectators gathered in the moonlight. Organizers had timed the fight to overlap with prime time in the U.S. So they gathered in the moonlight at the outdoor stadium to watch the fight. They were chanting "Ali Boumaye, Ali Boumaye," which means Ali kill him. Watch When We Were Kings. That's the documentary that Spike Lee directed dealing with the Rumble in the Jungle fight. When We Were Kings, a fantastic documentary. So the ex-champ Muhammad Ali had been taunting George Foreman for weeks, and the young boxer was eager to get going. When the bell rang, he began to pound Ali with his signature sledgehammer blows, but the older Ali simply backed himself up against the ropes and used his arms to block as many hits as he could. He was confident that he would wait Foreman out. Ali's trainer later called this strategy the rope-a-dope because he was a dope for using it. He said Ali was a dope for using it because George Foreman was basically known as like the hardest hitter at the time. When you see George Foreman fight Joe Frazier, George Foreman destroyed Joe Frazier. He knocked Frazier down 5 or 6 times. You can watch that fight on YouTube. He destroyed Joe Frazier. Everybody, George Foreman was just knocking him out or badly beating them. So Ali's going to win the fight in the eighth round knockout of Foreman. Ali lost his title and regained it once more before retiring for good in 1981. We know he passed away in 2016. George Foreman, meanwhile, retired in 1977, but kept training. And in 1987, he became the oldest heavyweight champ in the history of boxing. Today, the affable George Foreman is a minister and rancher in Texas and the father of 5 daughters and 5 sons, all named George. He's also the spokesman for the incredibly popular line of George Foreman indoor grills. All right, so let's go back to this clip, and this is right after the fight, after Ali wins. Here's what happened.
After 7 rounds, the commentators could only agree on the fact that the fight was too close to call. Then came the legendary 8th round.
It could be the tactics of Ali to let the man punch himself out. 30 seconds left in round 8. Very even fight. Ali, a sneaky right hand. Another sneaky right hand. This time he works over the shoulder of Foreman.
Down goes Foreman. Down goes Foreman.
Although Muhammad and I had a date for an interview after the fight, getting there from ringside was not a simple task. The backstage scenes were even more frenetic than usual. So was Muhammad.
It wasn't a close fight, was it? It wasn't a close fight. No. Was it close before I knocked him out? No. Wait. Is this on close? You is alive right now. But everybody stop talking now. Attention. I told you, all of my critics, I told you all that I was the greatest of all times when I beat Sonny Liston. I told you today I'm still the greatest of all times. Never again defeat me. Never again say that I'm going to be defeated. Never again that make me the underdog until I'm about 50 years old. Then you might get me. But I didn't dance. I didn't dance for a reason. I wanted to make him lose all his power. I kept telling him he had no punch. He couldn't hit. He's swinging like a sissy. He's missing. Let me see your box. I hadn't started dancing yet. You can't say my legs are gone. You can't say I was tired because what happened? I didn't dance from the second round on. I stayed on the ropes. When I stay on the ropes, you think I'm doing bad. But I want all boxers to put this in the page of boxing. Staying on the ropes is a beautiful thing with a heavyweight when you make him shoot his best shots and you know he's not hitting you. I would have gave George Foreman 2 rounds of steady punching because after that he was mad. He was falling. He was missing. I don't know if I'm going to fight again or not. I'm going to retire now. Tell me, what did you say to George Foreman before the fight? What did you say?
I told him he has no power in the corners and in the clinches. I said, shoot your best shot. I'm going back to the ropes. They told me he was strong. Didn't I look stronger than him?
Why didn't tell me, Mohammed? This is the thing that puzzled people. Why was it when you were on the ropes that he could not hurt you, even when you were right there on the ropes?
Blocking, and I was pulling back, and I have a radar built inside me. I know how to judge punches. Didn't I tell all of you out there on your local radio shows, mostly black stations? I told you, I'm going to float like a butterfly and sting like a bee.
His hands can't hit what his eyes can't see.
So that's what happened.
That's what you said to me. But tell me now, are you really going to retire?
I'm seriously thinking about retiring. There's nothing else for me to fight. I told her, well, I'm going to retire. I'm going to hold the title for a few months. They took my title unjustly. I told you, I'm the real champion. I told you, I'm the champion of the world. All of you bow. All of my critics crawl. All of you suckers who write the Rain magazine, boxing those fans, all of you suckers bow because the stage was set. You made him great. You made him a bad Joe Louis. You made him a hard puncher. But I want everybody from this moment on to recognize me as the scholar of boxing. If you want to know any damn thing about boxing, don't go to no boxing experts in Las Vegas. Don't go to no Jimmy Degree. Come to Muhammad Ali.
All right, so that was right after the fight. That was right after the fight, October 30th, 1974. Okay, check out this article here from history.com. This day in history, October 30th, 1974. Muhammad Ali wins the Rumble in the Jungle. And the name of that clip here from YouTube, Muhammad Ali, the Rumble in the Jungle interview. Okay, so check this out also. I have a bunch of clips of Ali. You see two pictures of Ali in the back. So I'm a big Muhammad Ali fan. I was alive when Muhammad Ali was boxing. I remember watching Muhammad Ali fights on Saturday on ABC Wild World of Sports, and watching Howard Cosell. All right. Lastly, there's one other topic we want to get to. The Congressional Black Caucus released back in late September. They released a, we talked about the CBC Jobs and Justice Act 2020. Okay. News1.com has an article dealing with this. We talked about this a couple of times, and a lot of what's in the Jobs and Justice Act 2020 is in our policies that Ice Cube was proposing, or some similar policies that Ice Cube was proposing in his contract with Black America. But the Congressional Black Caucus already had those bills out, and a lot of it was passed in the House of Representatives, but being blocked in the Senate. Okay. So we talked about this back in September, and then we also talked about it in October, when all this stuff around October 15th, October 16th, when all this blew up with Ice Cube. And, I was on Roland Martin Unfiltered on October 16th. We discussed it as well. If we look at, and I want to give you the name of this article from the Congressional Black Caucus. Just bear with me here. I have tons of articles. What was the one from the CBC? From news1.com. There's an article from news1.com that deals with this. Okay, and then we see that Ice Cube turned down a Zoom call with Senator Kamala Harris and some other entertainers. He said he didn't think it would be productive, be on the call with all these other people. And, there's more coming out about this whole situation that was not originally discussed. There's just more coming out about it. And we also see Representative Cedric Richmond, of Louisiana, who is a member of the Congressional Black Caucus and also Joe Biden's co-chair of his campaign. Cedric Richmond was on the call that September 8th Zoom call. Okay. If we look at the article, not to just rehash all this, but just give you some background information on this. If we look at the article from Politico, the inside story of how Ice Cube joined forces with Donald Trump, October 15th, 2020. Now, the title is misleading, but oftentimes in journalism, the writer of the article many times does not choose the title of the article. I don't know if that was the case here, but just in general, in journalism, oftentimes the writer of the article does not choose the name of the article. But what happened was you had there was a Zoom call September 8th, 2020. Democrats, too, were interested in cultivating the rapper. On September 8th, 2020, Ice Cube and his team had a conversation over Zoom with Biden's campaign, which was represented by Louisiana Representative Cedric Richmond, Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms, and Senior Advisor Simone Sanders. Okay. And Ice Cube said that they said they liked 85% of it. According to Ice Cube, he said they said they liked 85% of it. And we'll discuss this on other after the election, something to that effect. Representative Cedric Richmond, in his articles written about this, he said that's not what happened. We told Ice Cube we liked it and to flesh it out. Okay. And he said, basically, here's my number. If you have any questions, anything like that, give me a call. Representative Cedric Richmond, who was on the Zoom call that very few people are talking about, the Zoom call with Ice Cube and Ice Cube's team, he said, that's not what happened. We didn't say, oh, we'll discuss this on the other side of the election. We asked him to flesh out his agenda. Keep in mind, Joe Biden had already released his 22-page agenda to empower Black America on May 4th, 2020. Just understand that. A lot of things that are in Ice Cube's plan were already in Joe Biden's plan, because members of the Congressional Black Caucus helped Biden put together the plan. So they are incorporating a lot of things into this. And I was on Biden's site when we were talking about this, I think last Sunday, something like that. He's expanded his plan also. So go back and check that out at joebiden.com. The Lift Every Voice plan. You can go read it in its entirety. But I want to deal with this graphic here. So they, the CBC put out a comparative graphic. Roland Martin talked about this on his show. So I grabbed it. This is the Jobs and Justice Act of 2020 compared to Trump's Platinum Plan. The Jobs and Justice Act of 2020 compared to Donald Trump's Platinum Plan. And I thought I had, I just saw the article from newsone.com that explains the Jobs and Justice Act. I wanted to try to grab that. Hold on. Who was that? I saw it earlier today. All right, let's see here. Hold on. All right, we'll try to pull this up. But let's look at this here. I want to show you this graphic right quick. All right. Yeah, we'll see if we can blow this up. Hopefully y'all can see this. Can we zoom in? Okay. It's a JPEG. All right. So first of all, the Congressional Black Caucus on September 25th, 2020 released a statement. This at their website, cbc.house.gov, cbc.house.gov. The Congressional Black Caucus released the following statement on Trump's Platinum Plan for Black America. In 39 days, you won't hear another word about a platinum plan from Donald Trump. In 39 days, you won't hear another word about a platinum plan from Donald Trump. If he was serious about economic empowerment in Black communities, he would have listened to the Congressional Black Caucus when we met with him in 2017 to tell him our priorities. Instead, he never even read our 140-page proposal and went on to embolden white supremacists and give tax cuts to himself and his billionaire friends. March of 2017, the executive leadership of the Congressional Black Caucus, 7 members, met at the White House with Donald Trump and his team. They presented a 100, and I thought it was 125 pages, maybe the full thing's 140 pages. They presented the 140-page agenda called "We Have a Lot to Lose: 21st Century Solutions for Black Families." It's an extensive proposal, okay, extensive agenda. I have a copy of it in my backpack. I downloaded it, took it to the printer, and got it printed up. Oh, actually, it's right here. I took it out of the backpack to show you all. This is a copy of it. We have a lot to lose. All these people running around talking about black people don't have an agenda. That's a goddamn lie. You just haven't read it. Shut the hell up and do some research before you open your mouth. We have a lot to lose. Solutions to advance black families in the 21st century. Okay. And then it's broken up into, it has a table of contents. They deal with history. First thing they do is deal with history of African Americans, history, African American history, history of the CBC, solutions, introduction. They deal with everything from voting rights, criminal justice reform, economic justice, education, workforce, healthcare, environmental justice, rural America. All right. You can download this at cbc.house.gov. It's there right now. I just saw it. It's there right now. We have a lot to lose. On page 8, they lay out history. Right here, page 8, they lay out history of African American history. And they lay out page 8 and 9, goes on to page, what is it? Page 12, dealing with African American history, to give a snapshot of how we got from here to here. What happened? They go from the 17th century to 1619 to slavery, Reconstruction, Great Migration, Great Depression, the New Deal. During the New Deal, we talked about the stock market crash, because October 29th, 1929 was the stock market crash. Okay, that pushes the U.S. into the Great Depression. So we talked about the stock market crash yesterday. We talked about the Great Depression and the impact it had on African Americans. So they did, and we talked about the New Deal, President Roosevelt's policies, the New Deal, Social Security Administration, Minimum Wage Act, GI Bill, all different types of things like that. So they deal with the New Deal. They deal with World War II, that brings the U.S. out of the Great Depression, Jim Crow law, civil rights. They deal with all that. Okay. Then they lay out solutions for the African American community. They lay out all different types of problems, lay out solutions. It's a comprehensive agenda. Okay. Problem is, a lot of these people run their mouths, don't even know it exists because they don't do research and they haven't read it. Okay, so this is what they're talking about. All right. Now, I saw part of the meeting when it happened because Roland Martin was there reporting for news1.com. He's got the footage on his YouTube channel. Roland was there, and the other African American media outlets were there for the meeting. So the CBC goes on to say, and while people so somebody asked, does Biden plan cover what the CB? Parts of what's in this plan here are in Biden's plan. Because members of the Congressional Black Caucus, like Cedric Richmond, helped Biden put together the plan. So parts of this is in Biden's plan. And while black people are being disproportionately hit by COVID-19, Donald Trump is trying to dismantle the Affordable Care Act and take away health care when people need it most. Maya Angelou said best, when people tell you who they are, believe them. Trump has shown us who he is. From his campaign to lock up innocent black boys when he took out a full-page ad against the Central Park Five, to his company, he's calling for the death penalty to be brought back. He's calling for the death penalty for the Central Park Five. After they're totally exonerated, and the actual person who assaulted the jogger was arrested, he still doubled down. Has not apologized and said, oh, well, you still have police that said they were guilty and the prosecutor said they were guilty. So after DNA evidence cleared them, and the actual person who did the assault was found and captured, he still has not apologized. He still has not retracted those statements. So when he took out a full-page ad against the Central Park Five to his comments about S-hole countries, to just a few days ago, his executive order taking down racial sensitivity training at all agencies. Okay, we talked about that on yesterday's show as well, then on racial sensitivity training. So check this out at cbc.house.gov, and we'll pull this up also. Congressional Black Caucus released the following statement on Trump's Platinum Plan. From September 25th, 2020. Okay. And let's turn on the screen share right quick. Well, no, we got this one up here. So I don't want to switch over here. Here's the link to the statement from the CBC. Read that. And then also at the same website, you can download their 125, 140 page agenda. We have a lot to lose that I just talked about. All right, let's look at this here. Okay. So you see Jobs and Justice Act 2020, which is comprehensive. It focuses on jobs, small businesses, education, and police reform. Invest $100 billion to create over 1.9 million jobs by addressing critical physical and digital resource needs in schools. That's the Jobs and Justice Act from the Congressional Black Caucus. Trump's Platinum Plan. Invest $20 billion toward broadband and internet access to create job opportunities, improve classroom connectivity, and access to telehealth services. Okay. When we look at next, creates a 3-year program at the Department of Labor to test the impact of federal job guarantees in up to 15 diverse communities and regions experiencing high unemployment. Okay, we look at Trump's plan, examine barriers to employment, including fees, occupational licensing, arrest record inaccuracy, and expungement. We go back and look at Jobs and Justice Act. Encourage businesses contracted to rebuild infrastructure to recruit actively, hire, and provide on-the-job training to African-American men ages 18 to 39. Look at Trump's Platinum Plan. Reach greater levels of historic employment and wage growth for the Black community. The Jobs and Justice Act. Allow entrepreneurs to contribute up to $10,000 per year into a tax-free account for business-related expenses. Contributions to the account could accumulate up to $150,000 and withdrawn tax-free. So this is something that will help African-American owned businesses. This is in the Congressional Black Caucus's Jobs and Justice Act of 2020. Trump's Platinum Plan, grow minority-owned businesses with additional tax cuts to stimulate hiring and investment. What type of additional tax cuts? What percentage tax cut? What the hell are you talking about? That tax cuts, what are you talking about? Jobs and Justice Act, invest $2.5 billion in new federal grants to encourage states and districts to ban unfair and discriminatory school discipline practices and improve school climates, particularly related to girls of color. Improve school climates, particularly related to girls of color. Okay, Trump's platinum plan, which I've said before, is really a fool's gold plan, a fool's gold plan. Federal, state, and local community partnership to close failing schools to replace with full school choice and education opportunity. That's designed to attack unions. That's what that's really about, because public schools, the traditional public schools, those teachers usually belong to teacher unions. This is about attacking and weakening teacher unions. If you have more students in charter schools as opposed to traditional public schools, usually the charter schools, those teachers don't belong to teacher unions, then you reduce the number of teachers who are in unions. That reduces the amount of dues that the unions have. That reduces how much money the unions have to contribute to Democratic candidates. That's about weakening the unions. Okay, then we look at police reform. Okay, so that was dealing with education. We look at police reform, Jobs and Justice Act. The Justice in Policing Act calls for real reform to ban chokeholds and no-knock warrants, limit the transfer of military-grade equipment to state and local law enforcement, because that initiative that President Obama put in place to limit the transfer of military-grade equipment to police departments, that was reversed by Trump. Also require body cameras, reinvesting in critical community-based programs, and create a nationwide police misconduct registry, and much more. All right. Then if we look at Trump, the Trump plan, restore safety to America's great cities by working with police departments, community leaders, and mental health professionals to install the most responsive, professional, and accountable models of policing, including diversity training and accreditation standards. Well, you just signed an executive order that banned diversity training. But once again, it's the fool's gold plan. This stuff doesn't make any sense. It's a fool's gold plan. This is designed for Negroes that don't read. That's who this is for. This fool's gold plan is for Negroes that don't read, like Lil Wayne. Okay. So they can say, this is why I vote for Donald Trump. He got this 1.5 page agenda for African Americans that he released 39 days before the presidential election, before the November 3rd election. And when you go read that dumbass fool's gold plan, what you're reading is after they incorporated whatever they took from the contract with Black America. As bad as it is, that's after they enhanced it with whatever they took from the contract with Black America. That's the fool's gold plan. Okay, go read it. You can read it at donaldjtrump.com at your own risk. Read the fool's gold. No, read it and then compare that to Biden's plan to empower Black America. Pages 2 through 11 deal with economic empowerment. Compare the two plans. Okay, and you tell me what you see. All right. The article I was looking for from news1.com. We're going to try to pull up that article here. Yeah, CBC introduces Jobs and Justice Act 2020. We talked about this when it came out as a comprehensive bill, and then we talked about it also back around October 15th, 16th, when all this broke loose with Ice Cube. Okay. Let's look at this quickly. Read this full article. CBC introduces Jobs and Justice Act of 2020 to help Black families economically and socially. Now, a lot of these people running their mouths on social media, just putting out a whole bunch of nonsense, have no clue what they're talking about. A lot of them don't even know this exists. The multifaceted bill is divided into two parts. Okay, so we talked about this. This is written by Bruce C.T. Wright, September 15, 2020. All right. And the first part of the bill devoted to jobs is broken up into 5 subcategories to address the nation's most pressing needs on the employment front during a time when there is unprecedented joblessness, especially among African Americans. The jobs portion of the bill addresses various aspects of employment, such as workforce development, community and economic development, poverty, housing, and wealth creation, as well as education. Okay. Now, this is a bill that both Senator Kamala Harris and Joe Biden support. From including incentives to provide more Black girls with opportunities to pursue careers in the STEM field, science, technology, engineering, and math, to addressing Black-owned businesses, personal finance, and historically Black colleges and universities. The bill's jobs division casts a wide net and covers the gamut when it comes to all aspects of employment. The second part of the bill is also multi-tiered. The second part of the bill is also multi-tiered and concentrates on the ongoing efforts to reform the nation's criminal justice system. From improving the way police interact with communities they serve to expanding access to social services for individuals who have paid their debt to society, end quote. The legislation's language says in part. The Justice Division of the bill addresses criminal justice and includes the CBC's own Justice and Policing Act of 2020, the Justice and Policing Act of 2020, which is renamed the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act of 2020, and includes the CBC's own Justice and Policing Act of 2020 that ambitiously aims to end police brutality, hold police accountable, improve transparency in policing, and create meaningful structural change when it comes to how law enforcement does their jobs, health equity, the coronavirus pandemic, environmental justice, and voting rights. All right, so read this article here from news1.com. CBC introduces Jobs and Justice Act of 2020 to help Black families economically and socially. These are the types of bills that are on the ballot in 2020. These are the types of bills that have to get passed in the House of Representatives, passed into the Senate, because most of these bills die in the Senate. They get blocked in the Senate by Republicans in the Senate, and you need a president who will sign them into law. These are the types of bills that have policies to improve our conditions. Now, most of the people talking this bullshit on social media are not going to show you any of this. One, they don't know it exists. Two, they don't want you to know it exists. All right, so check this out. We'll post a link here from news1.com. You can go research that bill. Okay, elections have consequences. Politics is the legal distribution of scarce wealth, power, and resources, and the writing of laws, statutes, ordinances, amendments, and treaties, the adoption, interpretation, and enforcement. When I say this is on the ballot, I mean you got to have people in office who will actually pass the bills. The bills are being pushed by a Congressional Black Caucus. You need people in office in the Senate to pass the bill. It'll pass the House of Representatives. When I say it's on the ballot, you got to understand the policies that are on the ballot. The candidates are on the ballot, and they have policies that they're advocating for. So when you have bills like this, they die in the Senate because Republicans control the Senate. It's just like the police reform bill that Democrats passed in the House and were trying to push through the Senate. It got blocked in the Senate. And Republicans came with a weaker bill sponsored by Senator Tim Scott, Republican, Tea Party Republican of South Carolina. This is a horrible bill. The ones that the Democrats were pushing went much farther, but they ain't have enough votes in the Senate to get it passed. So neither one of those bills got passed in the Senate. You have to have people in office to pass these bills, and you need a president to sign the bill into law. So I encourage everybody to go to YouTube and search for Schoolhouse Rock. I'm a bill on Capitol Hill. And watch that again, which deals with the process of a bill becoming law. I'm serious. It deals with the legislative branch of government and the executive branch of government. I'm serious. Okay. Why? Schoolhouse Rock. I'm just a bill. I'm only a bill. Okay. Sitting here on Capitol Hill. Watch that, because that deals with the process of a bill becoming a law. All right. Hey, look, if you like this type of information, you can donate to the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, and also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show, paypal.me/the AHN Show. We're here Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time, and Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, look, we have to get out of here. Remember, at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it corrects wrong behavior. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. Remember, right now it corrects wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. And we'll talk to you Sunday night. All right. African-American business owners, email us at customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com. And remember, all these shows are in audio podcast format, wherever you get your podcasts from. We're on Blog Talk Radio, Castbox, FM Player, TuneIn, wherever you get your audio podcasts from. Listen to the African History Network show. We're on iHeartRadio, Stitcher also. Right now, it's corrects wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. Gain knowledge in minutes with Blacklist Ed. Blacklist Ed is an app that provides insightful summaries of books pertaining to the Black experience. As Black people, we know the importance of reading books to discover our incredible contributions to world history, to uplift our self-esteem, and to empower ourselves for our relentless fight for social justice. Unfortunately, with our busy lives, it feels like there is never enough time to read a book. Fortunately, there's a solution. With Blacklist Ed, their app provides key insights from best-selling books about the Black experience, therefore saving you time, increasing your knowledge, and empowering yourself through inspirational and actionable ideas. You can read or listen on the go. Start your free trial today by going to blacklisted.com. That's black without the C, BLAK. Or you can download the Blacklist Ed app from the App Store or Google Play. Blacklist Ed, empower yourself. The books Ivy and Catalina Visit Sellville and Brooklyn Softball Adventures are from authors Sidney Carujo, Brooklyn Carujo, and Shanine Dials Carujo. In Ivy and Catalina Visit Sellville, readers will join Ivy and Catalina as they tour the small town of Sellville with their grandparents to learn about the world of science. The girls will learn about the structures and functions of the cell. This book provides great analogies that make learning about the cell easy for kids. The book Brooklyn Softball Adventures takes readers on the journey with Brooklyn through her first 2 seasons of playing softball. Through facing adversity, Brooklyn and her teammates build their confidence and learn to love the game. The book encourages children to try new things and never accept defeat. Ivy and Catalina Visit Sellville is by Sidney Carujo and Shanine Dials Carujo. And Brooklyn's Softball Adventures is by Brooklyn Carujo and Shanine Dials Carujo. Both books are available right now at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, BooksAMillion.com, and Target.com. Alkebulan's lifestyle attitude is servitude. They focus on providing you quality products and customer service. They're here to fulfill your African men's and women's clothing, accessories, health and beauty products, essential oils and fragrances, hair care products, and much, much more. Check out their collection of clothing and products for African kings and queens. Visit their website, alkebulanlife.com, ALKEBULAN, alkebulanlife.com. They look forward to serving you.